life hasn't been what you probably think it has. We all have our struggles.
Have you ever been in love?
A long, long time ago. You?
So many times. Yeah, all the time.
Welcome to the future. Life is good, but it can be better. And why shouldn't it be? All you need is to want it. Think about finally having everything you always wanted.
I can save today, but you can save the world.
Steve.
Now, I take what I want in return. Everyone will see. The world needs you. You know what you need to do.
Nothing good is born from lies. And greatness is not what you think.
Hello and welcome to 2021 or 1984 or whenever the hell this is. I have no idea when it is. I am Quinny. Who are you, man with a beard?
Oh, I'm a man with a beard. I am Dion. I'm stuck in the middle with you. And who's, who's on my left? You can't tell.
Knows.
You don't really
Nobody
know.
knows who is on your left. Ladies, would you like to introduce yourself?
But Peter is. I mean, I could say that.
Hi, I'm Peta. Apparently, I'm on Dion's left.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Bec. I have no idea where I am, but I'm definitely here for the first time in about 3 months.
Yay!
Yay! Well, we've all been busy. How was COVID? Did you have COVID? I don't know.
Hang on.
Fill me
I did
in.
not
who's
have COVID.
Who's
Did
the
not have
last
COVID.
person?
What about you, Jill? Did
I
you
do not
COVID?
have COVID. I still do not have COVID, and I do not want to get COVID.
Yay!
Oh, hooray.
Let's all just not get COVID.
Yes.
Great.
It's a good
I'm glad we
plan.
can agree on that.
Yes. Oh, my God. It feels like it's been a whole year.
Oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
I haven't seen you guys since last year.
Oh,
Oh, come on. It's worth the joke. Not really a joke anyway. Oh, well, I hope everyone enjoyed the stuff that we had put on so that we could have a break.
yes.
Did
yes.
you like Hamilton?
Oh, drunk cinema.
Did you like Drunk Cinema where Bec died for an hour and a half having to watch
Wait,
Justice
wasn't it
League?
longer than that?
I haven't re-listened to it. I don't know if I'm brave enough to do so, to be honest.
It's quite funny and everyone gets quite drunk. Yes.
I'm just trying to remember whether or not it was in that one or whether it was afterwards that Fel got confused and talked about Aragog the spider or Aragon.
No, that was in that one.
Yeah,
it was
that
in
one.
the actual recording.
Confused between Aragog and Aragorn going, but wait, why is he in love with a spider?
Excellent.
Even Chip
Anyway.
thought that was amusing. Well done.
Yes.
Good. Casper is saying that he hasn't watched the drunk episodes yet. You're struggling to find the standard release of Justice League.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Can't help you there. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, we could probably help you. We can find lots of places that are probably doing that.
Sure.
But whether that's legal or not, it's a different matter. Anyway,
How's everyone's Christmas? Was it good? Everyone's like,
It was good. It was Christmas.
yes.
I got home to my family, so that was nice.
Yeah, some of us
Yes.
got to lock down and other people got to leave. And that's equally bad and good.
I got an air fryer from my dad.
Hey!
That's
Oh,
awesome. The
mate,
book father provides, and I have hashtag the book father provides.
Smash that hashtag. Bookfather provides.
I've been
While you're
using
at it, like and subscribe. Fuck.
I've been using my air fryer every single day since I received it. Highly recommend.
Oh,
this
no.
is not a podcast about air fryers, but if you'd like one of those, I can make one.
We're going to talk about air fryers now. Fuck. At least you didn't get one of those Thermomixes and then all you do is talk about the
God.
Thermomix.
No, but that is my favorite episode of the catering show.
Yes, Panda Attack says, gotta love that
Oh.
Tuesday night air fryer chat. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what
I
we're
got
here
a
for.
cordless drill and anxiety.
Hooray! Finally, Jill, you got anxiety. We've had it up for years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay!
No, it
I mean,
culminated in a
spoilers, it
wonderful
gets
attack on
worse.
Christmas Day.
Oh,
Yay.
good. Wonderful.
Oh, shit.
Good times.
Yeah, that's why I fucking love Christmas.
Yeah. Well, if you're not going to have it when you're finally getting back together with your family, when would you have one? I
Right?
mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're waiting to see whether or not the borders are actually going to open or close.
Sure.
Close in my case.
Yeah,
Yeah,
uh-huh,
I
yeah.
know.
Yeah, and yours too, Quinny, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, so you were originally going to be going to South Australia, yeah?
Yeah, back in November, which I then cancelled and rebooked for January, which I've now cancelled again.
Oh.
Jill, you weren't even supposed to be here
Yeah.
today.
No,
No.
Wasn't
No,
let's not
doing this from
let's
Saturday.
not dwell on these things.
No, let's
We
focus
all
on
know
the...
how shit that is.
Let's
Look,
focus on the
I just
positive,
said
and then we can
glad
talk about.
None of us have COVID,
Yep.
and when it all blows over, we'll have a few pints, and then we'll
Down
be
at the
able to
Winchester.
travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we will talk about those fun times that we had where we watched that movie. You know, that movie called Wonder Woman 1984.
I'd also like to point out.
separately and not in a cinema.
Yes, separately in a COVID-safe environment where we weren't doing
Uh-huh.
anything. And I just want to point out, yes, I do. Didn't actually check the trailer footage before I pressed play, and it did say in June. It says, coming in June, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not coming out that time.
Oh,
Yeah.
high five, Casper. Yeah, same here, dude. Woo.
John's-
Yes,
84.
all the 84
Oh, yes.
babies.
Yeah.
Hands
Put
up
your hands
if
in
you
the air.
if you're in '84.
Yay. Oh, okay. Peter, you are a 1984 baby?
I am a 1984 baby. Me and Jill are a matching pair.
Oh.
All the best things came out in 1984.
I
mean,
resent
we-
that.
We can't all be born in 1998, Beck.
Yes.
I wasn't 98. How long do you think I cooked for?
I don't know. That involves math and women things,
Yeah.
and I went to an all-boys school that didn't have anything like sex
Math and
education.
women things.
Oh, sorry, Pete, we've offended you. It's all right.
That's it. Pete was gone. He's like, fuck this. I don't want to have
Yeah.
anything to do with women things or math.
No.
I'm gone.
You stop talking about 1984. Fuck you. I'm out.
Sorry, guys, I just realised I'd left the door open and it wasn't doing a favour for the sound, so I thought I would
Oh,
just disappear and fix it momentarily.
that's okay.
Ah.
No problem. Well, what do we...
Well,
So
why
as-
don't
as-
we, in lieu of getting together over a pint and talking about this, talk about it here, now, which is what people have come to listen to.
Well, I
Absolutely.
love that we have all watched this, but none of us have actually had any discussion at all about what we thought of it. So this is very much the post movie. We've just walked out into the foyer and everybody's looking at each other, kind of
Don't
going,
talk, save it for the podcast.
exactly.
Sure.
So you're getting it fresh as a daisy. I guess then, Beck, would you like to perhaps tell us what is Wonder Woman 1984 about?
Quinny, nothing would bring me greater joy.
Holy
than to
shit,
read
that's
a
the saddest
synopsis
thing I've
for
ever
you.
heard.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Diana Prince lives quietly among mortals in the vibrant, sleek 1980s, an era of excess driven by the pursuit of having it all. Though she's come into her full powers, she maintains a low profile by curating ancient artifacts and only performing heroic acts incognito. But soon, Diana will have to muster all of her strength, wisdom, and courage as she finds herself squaring off against Maxwell Lord and the Cheetah, a villainess who possesses superhuman strength and agility. That's it. That's a fucking movie. That was better than the movie. Just read the synopsis.
Wow. way to play your hand straight up there.
Also,
Sorry.
I find that wildly inaccurate.
Oh, really?
That synopsis is wildly inaccurate for the one sentence in there right at the start where it goes, when she's come into all of her powers. And I was like, that's bullshit. Because there's at least 3 powers that she develops during that film. I was like, what? She's fully into her powers. Is she?
I don't know anymore.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a film.
Diana Prince has settled comfortably into her life as a superhero, by night.
Yeah.
Yes, Diana
and
Prince
museum curator by day.
Yes,
I don't know how in her cognito is because she doesn't wear glasses like Superman. She's just the same person.
Yeah, she puts a tiara on. We all know
Oh,
that when you
that's
wear
And
a
in this
tiara,
movie,
you look
if this
different.
movie taught us one thing, it's that removing your glasses entirely changes your appearance.
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig.
From a dowdy nerd type to a super beautiful
I'm
woman.
so disappointed in Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
Come on, everyone knows that this is an actual trope, that in order to be understood as being the person who's bullied and downtrodden and ignored, you have to be a woman who wears glasses and drops a bunch of paper on the floor that no one
I'm
else
glad
can
you
pick
said
up.
that.
Yeah, but this is a trope that we should have left in 1984.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that Diana Prince in this was doing nothing in 1984, not helping the famine in Africa, not worrying about the gross corruption of Wall Street in the 80s, just sitting in DC going, you know what, it's really artifacts.
Yeah. I
That's
like
what
old
Rocking
things.
like the best fashion. If someone's gonna wear 1984, like she's doing a good job.
Yes, unlike Steve Trevor, who apparently.
Bless him with his bum bag.
Steve Trevor's outfits were great, and I love the ability to retcon fashion by every single place, because they go, wow, the 80s had some style, except they didn't. Because I was there in the 80s, and there's not a lot of style. Like, it's nice to go back and find those things and find tailors who make them look good on you.
Yeah, it's funny. Like we're so focused. Like for a movie that is super focused on being set in 1984, it seemed to really not kind of get the feel of 1984 particularly well a lot of times. And
It
there was
didn't
one.
lean that hard into it, did it?
No, if you're gonna set it there, fucking set it there. Like make the whole thing feel like 1984. There was a point, and this is a fucking really minor, really stupid kind of thing. But they showed kids playing in an arcade, and they're playing Operation Wolf, which didn't come out until 1987. And I was like,
One did not do their job correctly, continuity people. Come on.
yeah, honestly, it was one of those things. I just went, oh, what?
I remember that game mainly because it was the first time I'd seen an Uzi outside of a movie.
Yeah, yeah. And you got to hold it and go, taka.
Yeah, and shoot what I now understand as freedom fighters who were just trying to do the right thing for their country. I was on the evil side. I was a mercenary hired by an oil company. This is wrong, guys.
Wow.
Anyway, I remember the 80s way differently.
Yeah.
I genuinely was excited to see this movie because I think that the first Wonder Woman movie was spectacular. Maybe because I had such a low bar for DC movies.
Yeah.
Like if you put it up against Marvel Cinematic Universe, the majority of Marvel Cinematic Universe is better than Wonder Woman, in my opinion.
Big call.
I
no.
There's a lot of movies.
There's a lot of dogs in that one.
Yeah, it's not that hard a call to make, though.
Okay, what's the
genuinely.
biggest dog of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Thor 2?
Iron Man
fuck off.
3.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No fucking
Okay.
way.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Any of the Fantastic Four movies.
No. They're just the
Guardians
Marvel
2.
Cinematic Universe, dude.
No,
Guardians 2.
you get to pick and choose. If it's a Marvel property, it's a Marvel film.
No,
No.
MCU. We're talking MCU.
You,
Majority of the MCU movies are better than Wonder Woman, the original one.
And see, the
But
thing is,
Wonder Woman is the best DC movie.
It is. And Wonder Woman is 2/3 of a fucking spot on, perfectly wonderful film, and then
And they-
one shitty third.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
ruin it at the end.
Screwed the pooch on the end.
Well, I mean,
Um,
is that not like all the Wonder Woman movies so far? It's like, wow, this seems fun, and then by the end you're like, what? What the fuck happened? It was so good. It was going so good.
It's just such a shame. And I think that everyone was almost holding out hope based on the trailer, based on the amazing art, that we were going to have this really cool movie that was set in an era that lots of comic book fans lived through personally and therefore felt some sense of nostalgia for. And it would all kind of bring it all back to you.
And
That's
it was
not
fun.
80s,
I mean,
that's 90s. But that's when I was alive.
1998, yeah, right, yeah.
1991. But unfortunately, right from basically the get-go, I wouldn't say the get-go. The opening sequence in this is too long, but it's lots of fun.
Yeah.
It goes for a very long time.
11 minutes.
Yep. But it is
Oh,
lots
wow.
of fun, and I did kind of enjoy it. You know, I would have been happy to sit through a movie that was a coming of age movie for Diana, essentially, on Themyscira. But
Yeah.
then they bring it to she's a museum curator, and there's this new girl who wears glasses and drops things and can't walk in heels, and that is what makes you useless as a woman, and there is no reason for you
man.
to be alive, and no one's going to pay attention to you unless you are Amazonian.
And as Casper puts it in the chat, yeah, you know what? Yeah, and then there's the second opening.
Yeah.
You know? And I can totally see, because apparently the studio was very keen to lose one of them. You know, either the Themyscira one or the opening in the mall. Either one would
I
have
liked
been
the mall opener. I would have stuck with the mall opener and maybe made this a movie about how Diana's trying to fit into the real world
Yeah.
instead of
Because
yeah.
the opening sequence, the whole point of that is her learning about not cheating.
But
And
I didn't even think
telling
she
the
cheated.
truth. No, telling
was
the
like-
truth, not cheating, somehow telling the truth and not cheating are linked,
Sure.
even though she didn't
I mean,
lie
so
about
they are.
anything that she did in the start there.
Yeah.
I
And
know,
then how do
then-
they relate that back to the lesson that she learned at the end of this movie?
I mean,
Exactly.
thematically-
Yeah, I was really
It doesn't
confused
make
about that.
any sense. There is nothing to connect them. They could have, like, it's so fun though, that opening. It just seems like it belongs in a different movie.
Yeah.
But that,
it does.
Yes, Chip.
Yes, Chip really hated it.
Yeah, Chip had to watch it with me.
But
He's really not
But
impressed.
that Blue Monday song was really exciting.
And well, I like the Blue Monday song, but that once again, it's like they're doing all of this stuff to make it at 1984, and then you start not in 1984.
Yeah.
And then
You
for
go
the
to-
bulk of the film, 1984 is, or the 1980s is barely a plot point.
Yeah, it's and there's the weird Themyscrian version of Gladiators that's going on because that looks normal. Or is it a triathlon? I'm not sure. I mean, it could have been done as a flashback later.
Yeah.
It's like Gladiators meets Wipeout.
Yes,
Like-
yeah, I like that.
You
But
know
something
what?
that
It's
is-
a knockout. That's
but-
what it
Yeah.
was.
But no, there's not enough costumes and weird
Ah.
shit going on and someone talking at it.
But it was good fun, and they could ride horses. Whoever they got in
Sure.
to ride
And-
the horses could ride the horses,
and
and that
allowed
made me
an-
really happy.
Allowed an 11-year-old girl to participate, and everyone was like, "Yeah, sure, just don't die."
They're Amazons.
Yeah. She was born
I
in a
feel like-
clay. Like I think there's a different standard for her.
I feel like maybe
She's
they
also a
rec-
goddess.
Yeah.
Sorry, Peter.
I feel like maybe they recognized that was one of the most loved things from the first film, those battle scenes with the
Mhm.
Amazons, and felt like maybe they felt like they needed to bring it back in some form in this film, but it didn't really fit.
Yeah, but if they don't
in
show where
the
she's from, how
plot.
will they know about the Amazons? How will we have to explain about why she's from the Amazon land where there's the women?
Maybe the
Well,
movie will explain.
Maybe that's not actually important to this movie.
but
Yeah.
also like the weird expositionary scene that we got in the middle of the movie where the Lasso actually can show you things that are in the past and the truth as well, which was also ample exposition.
It's like, oh,
Yes.
didn't you know that it could also do this other thing very convenient?
Yes, the lasso of truth and exposition and flashbacks. And
Hello.
also
Hello,
Deus
Austin.
Ex
My name is
Machina.
Lasso Exposition.
Exposition. Yeah, that's Dion's new porn name.
I got, and we will come into this. We'll
excuse me,
split
that's-
this so that we are talking spoilery stuff after the
Oh,
break.
yeah.
Ted Lasso Exposition
but
to you.
There
Dylan.
is some shit towards the end of the film that I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. But
Some
then again, that was a pretty common thing throughout most of this film. Was a whole bunch of going,
Yeah,
huh?
not just towards the end, just
Yeah.
all the way
Yeah.
through.
I think that the thing that upset me the most is not actually that spoilery, and that was the massive step backwards in a film that is meant to be about a female superhero towards female empowerment,
I
essentially.
hated that.
Mm.
Hated it. Hated it. Hated the entire Kristen wig, glasses off,
Yeah.
tight clothes, walk in heels now. Transition.
Men finding me
Hated
attractive
it.
is what gives me my value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she felt
Yeah.
empowered. She
Yeah.
liked wearing heels.
And
They're digging my grave further.
all she wanted to do was be an apex predator
That's the
Yeah,
dream
and
of
in
all
order
young
to do
women.
that, you must be able to walk in high heels.
and kick the piss out of a potential rapist.
Well, that's
Cool.
important.
Well, I
But-
mean, yeah, that was important, but there was just this whole thing about her. Like, I know that we're dealing with comic book shit here. We're dealing with characters that their origin stories are usually kind of thin on the ground or whatever. But I honestly was like, what the fuck is up with this character? It
Yeah.
just felt super lazy all the way through.
I feel like if we get too much further into this, it'll end up spoilery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell
this
me then
particular
of
character.
fun things. Like, why should people go and see, however means that you want to? In Australia, that means you have to go to the cinema. Please don't go if you're from New South
Or
Wales. It's
get
just a bad
HBO
idea.
Max subscription.
Or
Yeah.
a VPN and HBO Max subscription works
Yep.
just as well. Thank you, Jill.
I recommend that no one go to a cinema to watch this. It is not worth the risk.
Especially in
Um,
Sydney right now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
especially anywhere in the world, essentially.
Sure.
Like,
Maybe
Hmm.
Perth.
Don't
Perth
do
would
it.
be okay. They're doing pretty good.
One of
No
our
one's
regulars actually has seen it 3 times in the cinema in Perth, and I was
Why?
like, "Why?"
Yeah, why? Was
Because
it
there's
free?
nothing else on. They've
the
locked
best
it.
part about watching it at home is that you can get up and do your laundry halfway through, which is what I did.
Oh, burn.
Yeah.
I'm not into shaming people for liking things that I didn't like. And, there are some things about this that were fun.
Hmm? What
There
do
are
you-
some nuggets of fun in there.
what's a nugget of fun? Dig us up a nugget, Pete.
Well, we've talked about the costumes. There was a nugget of fun in the costumes. Some of the
Just
I don't
struggling
know.
now.
It was weird in the context of the film, but like Steve just doing stand up about 80s fashion was fun.
I did like Chris Pine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris Pine was weird and fun. Some of the fight sequences were kind of fun, even though there was a little bit of a weirdness to some of the actual movement that made it feel like you could almost see the wires.
Mm.
Mm.
I I got frustrated by that because, like, throughout the other films, we've kind of seen how she fights and how she moves, and this felt weirdly slidey and kind
There
of.
was a lot of I'm gonna slide on my knees. And do
That's
this
her.
cool
That was
move."
her big moment in the trailer for Justice League, though, right?
Yes.
Or was it
yeah.
Justice League or Batman versus Superman? Batman
No,
versus Superman.
Justice League, I think.
Okay, where
Yeah.
she like comes sliding through,
Yeah.
and she's
Sure.
very big on the sliding.
Hmm.
I actually really enjoyed the mall scene.
Hmm.
I had those moments where she's obviously on wires and her jumping looks more like floating, and somehow she managed to double jump, which is not an achievement you should be able to make in your first level of a video game.
This is the second level. Come on, be honest.
But like, I would watch more of that if it acknowledged that that's what it was. But
Mm. I mean, her leveling up to the end where she was like, as we saw in the trailer, able to rope off, lasso off lightning bolts and clouds and shit. I was like, okay, we're doing that now.
I mean, let's not talk about physics. Let's just, suspension of disbelief.
Let's just leave that to the spoiler section.
There are many, there are many powers that Wonder Woman finds throughout the course of this movie that do not seem earned. But if she...
The jet, for one.
just leave it for the spoiler section, Quinny.
Good Lord.
I mean, there's a question in the...
so bad at this. How long have you been doing this for?
The question,
15 years.
There's a question in the chat, which is, did the hair look fake? Casper wants to know if the hair looked fake.
No.
Nothing compared to Aquaman.
Well, that's just unfair because everyone knows that those wigs were beautiful. And
you
underwater.
Want the worst wigs in any movie I've ever seen. You go watch Aquaman.
That's because they're in the sea all the time.
I can genuinely not think of a movie with worse wigs.
Really?
Genuinely.
Haven't you seen Cats?
Cats had fine CGI. There were no wigs in Cats. It was all CGI.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, I liked bits of the film. I quite enjoyed the start because it came out with that whole thing. It's like, we're going to be 80s and we're going to go like super 80s and we're going to add everything in there that's 80s. So you know it's the 80s, right? And then they made jokes about it, which I was like, well, that's fine. If you're going to do that, don't play it too serious and be like, oh, the 80s, here's a serious representation. Just make jokes about some of the shit parts of it. Like the fashion. You know, and I like Steve Trevor. Fuck, I hate the fact he's got two first names. I always have to say it's Steve Trevor. It's like, fuck, why? Why am I? It's like I'm calling two people. But I liked how Steve Trevor was amazed by the future technology of the 80s. You know, parachute pants? What, is everyone parachute now?
I like that he was amazed by the future of the 80s briefly.
Yeah, when it suited him.
Yeah, but then was just like, oh, I can totally do this and I can do that.
Oh, that's incredibly competent for a machine that was developed post-World War II. I'll get on that. That's not too hard. Yeah, old sunny Jim Boyer, where I used to use petrol and now it's jet fucker, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm down. I was down. I was down, but then by the end of it, I was like, what the fuck's going on? And also, I tried so deliciously hard to love.
Deliciously hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
To
hashtag deliciously hard.
To go for my boy
Smash that like button.
My boy Mando, and I'm wearing a Mando just. Wait, hang on.
So you tried super hard to get on board with. Oh, there he is.
Cute.
Yeah, it's the wrong Mando, but whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a problem.
Wrong Mando. I tried so hard to get on with Pedro Pascal, but by the end, I fucking hated it. I hated him.
Oh my god, the villains were so half-baked, and I just don't understand what any of their motivations
He was
were.
worse than in the Kingsman movie that was the second sequel where he played a fucking cowboy with a whip.
I liked that because that was dumb.
Yeah.
This was.
I was going to get angry at you for disparaging the first Kingsman when that's what I thought you were doing because that was excellent. Second Kingsman, not great.
Apart from the end. There's a little bit of a problem with.
Apart from one line which they cut out in the home release. You can't hear that line anymore.
Well,
for a good reason.
And then they leaned into it for Kingsman 2.
Yes.
They were like, you know that one line that everyone we had to remove? Let's do more of that.
Have you not met Mark Miller?
This is a...
Mark Miller is the sort of guy who's like, wow, did that offend you? Quick, let's write an entire plot point about that. My next series is about this thing that you didn't like. Sucked in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I got a little bit mad at, I mean, I know, I get a little mad at the bad guy with an accent trope, like that kind of bugged me because I was like, it is like I'm watching a movie that was made in the 80s in terms of tropes.
In so many ways.
That's what they should have been going for.
Well, to be honest, I thought that's what they were doing for a little while. At the start, I was watching it going,
like a parody?
I felt like I feel like at some point in time they were trying to make a film that was an 80s superhero action film. Like for a little while, the way that they dealt with her, the wink to the kid, the kind of fight scene in the mall, the way that they were kind of playing it, even the way that they set up cheetah and everything. I was like, oh, we're playing this really big. We're playing this really cartoony and big. Are we actually trying to do this as an 80s
No.
action film? But then they weren't. And I was like, oh, fuck, no.
No, I'd
Oh.
rather watch like Power Rangers movie than this.
You're
If that's what you're going for.
Wow.
Yeah.
Power Rangers movie is great, by the way. Go watch Power Rangers movie. If you want to watch Wonder Woman 84, I recommend you watch the Power Rangers movie instead.
Yeah.
It's set in Sydney.
Like
Back
if
when we
you,
still had monorails.
yeah.
Mm.
If you go back and look at Superman the movie from like 78, 79 or whatever it is, like there are so many things about that I felt like this was trying to kind of echo or feel similar to. The way that they show the city, the kind of look of the characters, the look of the cinematography. And I was like, are you trying to remind us of all these things? And then by reminding us of that, wow, don't do yourself any favors, because now we're just thinking I should be watching a better film. And there were other better films made in 1984 that told a better, more coherent story, which I think is sad. I'll just pop down off my soapbox now.
It is the coherency of the story there are lots of little tiny problems with logic holes and things that aren't quite right with this, but the biggest problem
Tiny?
is the coherency of the story. I spent the first half of the film trying to figure out what plot line I was supposed to be following and who I should be rooting for and what their goal was for the entire film. It was very loose
What
at the
fuck
start.
Maxwell Lord was trying to do, full stop.
Yes, and for half the movie they didn't even know what they were fighting or if they needed to fight anything. Just, oh, this is weird. We're going to go check out that stone and see what that's like. It just didn't, it was very hard to get engaged.
I kept on expecting
the stone
some
doesn't
gods to
even
get
glow.
involved.
How are we meant to know it's bad?
Yeah. You get a gentle puff of air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean,
It farts at you.
all the other stones that do evil shit glow, like the dark crystal,
The Tesseract.
Yeah.
Tesseract, any of the Infinity Stones, we just don't know. It confused me, DC.
Yeah, just
I mean, but also one of those things is that you kind of setting that up to perhaps have another reason to it, that this is a device that has been created by a trickster god.
okay.
Where's
so
our
here's
trickster
what I was
god?
expecting for Kristen Wiig's character. She gets her wish, but there's this side effect where she's more evilly affected than supposedly just going on a power trip. And then at the end she realizes that there's actually this heart of gold under there and she can bring herself out of it, and that is her redemption for her villainy.
No.
Nah.
So heading a little bit more into spoiler territory there, but that's probably something that that her entire character arc, I think, deserves further discussion.
And I also don't understand why there wasn't this sort of
very upsetting.
The devil's bargain. Everyone knows that story. It's like, yes,
The
come
monkey
in.
paw,
Yes.
as they kept repeating.
Yeah.
I'm
You can-
why wasn't it just a monkey paw?
You
Of
can
a
you can
rock?
buy this item.
Because Pedro Pascal cannot be a monkey paw.
But apparently he can be a crystal.
No, he can't. He doesn't get to be a crystal because that was weird, right? That was strange when he says,
It's not even a crystal. You're making it sound way cooler than it was. It was a hunk of rock.
But he wants to be
Shitty bit of quartz.
the wish crystal. Is it the wish crystal? What is it? The
Dreamstone.
Dreamstone. And when he says, I want to be this dreamstone, so why didn't he turn into the dreamstone?
Yeah.
I like wish crystal better.
Wish crystal.
Honestly, it makes
Wish
a lot more
crystal
sense.
is nicer. Dreamstone is just like a stone in the shape of a thought bubble.
And where did it come from? What the fuck was the point of this
Where
thing?
did it go?
Because there was a
Where does it come from?
Because there was
Can't
there was a god, and some of the gods are evil, like we found out in the first
I would
film.
be down for this like, I mean, we got Ares in the first Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
I would have been down for like a new god
Yeah, what if there's like
Absolutely.
a secret
Wonder Woman movie.
plot of gods trying to like destroy Diana, and
They-
now it's all going to culminate over like
They
more
could have done
movies.
that. Could have been an easy sequel into the New Gods,
Quick,
and then it would have
Yes.
been.
patent it, copyright that. DC, give us your money. We just wrote your movies for you. Fucking
Yeah.
idiot.
Yeah, we can't do any worse than what you've already done.
Can we talk briefly about Steve Trevor and
Sure.
his questionable resurrection and
Weird.
then the weird shit that comes with that ethically?
Well, is this spoiler territory?
Ooh, not yet. We still have a clip. We can go to a clip, and if you just want to get into spoilers, I'm not against
I
it.
think we should.
Well, okay, before we do, do we want to rate it for those people who want to go clean?
Oh,
Jill's face.
2. Like, no, it's worth more than a 2. It's just not great. I'm
Like a
just
two,
salty
whatever, shut up.
about it because I was excited for it and it wasn't good.
I wonder whether or not we'd be so pissed about it if we'd actually watched it in June.
No, I would be.
No, I would be. I really liked the first film, and I did not really like this film. And I don't understand how this, like, how
okay.
it went from the first film to this film.
Yeah.
Just
Makes
not.
me real concerned about that X-wing franchise.
Patty, why?
Just like,
yeah, well, exactly.
boy.
That's what it's like. Patty, why? Because like
why?
so many things that like are a step backward.
It's
in
funny
terms of
that you mentioned
representation in this
Thor
film.
2 earlier because she was attached to direct Thor 2 at the start there.
And then she got off it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it is a very, it feels like a massive jump to the side or backwards or whatever.
It's just a step to the
They
left.
did the time warp.
Yes,
They literally
a step
did.
to the left with the time warp. And everyone went, what? That's not the lyrics.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Okay. Can we get a number of a rating of some sort? Casper has given us a 60, which I think is very kind.
Generous.
It's generous. Oh, come on, Pete, you started it. What's your number? Give us a figure. Is not a figure.
No, it's hard because it's
That's like
you
a
know, it
25.
does- 60. I'll give it a 62.
62.
60 as
Or
well.
60 as well.
60 a 60 as well as Casper.
Right. A 60 plus Casper. Right. Okay. Okay. And I mean, do you want to elucidate on that any further, or are we just happy with the number?
Look, it's just like there's a lot of stuff, you know, like the production design where I'm like, yeah, that was cool. But it just, in terms of basic plot and character development, which are the most important things, is quite a bit of a disappointment.
Fair enough. Jill.
I'm going to go with 65 because it gave me a couple of like comic book things that I was really into. Parts of it were visually great. But again, the story was just really lacking. And I think like on your second Wonder Woman film, if the story is not great, then, you know, what's the point of doing another one? Which, yeah, is sad to say when she's like the best woman in the DC franchise that they have. Well, she's the only woman in the DC franchise that they have. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And weirdly, they've still greenlit another one, like almost straight away. Like they're like, yes, great, Wonder Woman, we'll do more of those. I'm like, that's
Well,
good.
I hope they listen to their reviews and get a better writing team for the third one because it needs a lot of work.
I would be sad to not see another one, but
Oh, yeah.
I just hope that I see another one that's better.
Considering
Maybe
that
get some of the people who wrote some of the comics.
Yeah, don't just credit them at the end of your movie. Like, actually get their input.
What are you talking about? Words don't transfer between whole systems. If you put words into comics, they don't work in books and they don't work on television.
They're just silly comic words.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only books with pictures in them.
Words have no
Yes,
meaning.
and characters and ideas from comic books could never be interesting to
No.
a movie audience.
Absolutely not.
They
No.
wouldn't rake in millions and billions of dollars.
No.
No,
That's
or
all right.
start franchises or universes.
No. There's no creativity. What?
Give me a number.
4.
Cool.
That's a
Between
doubling
one and
back.
10.
Oh, sorry. No, 84. No, I can't do that.
Oh,
Whoa.
84.
Ah,
If only it was a good movie and we could give it that.
yeah, it'd be like 84 was amazing. Well, I would give the first third. Actually, I could probably guess it right up until the bit where they get in the plane. I was like 84 because I'm like, this could be fun. Seems to be going like it's problems, but it's not too bad. They can ramp it on home, and then it just really started dropping numbers, like just down, just real down. And it kind of got to around about 30.
Ooh.
Because it was
Wow.
just. I mean, these are the things that I gotta agree with. Production design is amazing. She looked amazing. Everything
Yeah,
was great.
it's
Like
not
people
hard.
working on it were really trying to do it, but distinct lack of any kind of villain, zero character development, and a lack of Themyscira. Okay.
Yep.
Is it Themyscira? I don't know.
Themyscira.
Themyscira. Sorry, thank you for correcting me.
The mascara.
The mascara. Yes.
The mascara.
I really like Themyscira or the mascara, but I don't get to see how the society works, and that shits me because I don't want to go to there. I don't want to go there because they hold games and they're really good at killing things. I want to go there
because it can't work. There's no men there.
there's
Obviously.
No, but I mean, I want to know, like, the systems of politics. How do they, live, and why are they so happy? Probably because they have.
There's no men.
Men there. Yeah.
It's fair. All right.
Would
it's
you
a
like to
fair
talk
cop.
about it?
Yeah, I'm here if you want
I'm
to talk.
here if you need to talk.
But yeah, it's just like by the end of it, I was just like, this is just terrible trash, and it's worse. It's worse than the first one. Like the first one died in the ass when it turned out that it was David Thewlis and not man's own inherent violent nature.
Yeah.
This one died halfway through, where I was
Thewlis was
like,
a bad
everyone here
start.
is fucking dumb, and I
Yeah.
don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're sitting on 30 precisely?
Yeah, because it's shit.
Okay.
Sorry, I wanted to like it.
Beck?
Yeah, I was a bit worried there that I was going to be once again the fun sucker who sucks the fun out of everything. But I was actually going to go with a solid 35 because I genuinely enjoyed the production value. The costumes are great. It got a snicker out of me for some of the jokes, but I felt incredibly let down by a number of the character choices that they made in the writing of this. And even more let down because this whole Wonder Woman as a whole is all we have in the DC universe for the idea of female empowerment, really. She is it, and you fucked it. So,
Yeah.
great.
Wow.
Oh, I feel like downgrading my score based on that because I completely agree with you. Like, I
Yeah.
think maybe
You're
I'm
allowed
too
to.
generous. I think I'm going to kick it back to 50. No, because you are right. Like this, but then is it just, holding something to a higher standard because it's a woman?
No, I really
you're
hated
right.
Aquaman and Batman versus Superman too. Like
Well,
I
my thing is I
scathingly
haven't
reviewed those also.
This is the only DC film that I watch and follow. I have not seen any of the other ones because I listen to my friends.
Oh. I mean, if you can, if you do compare it directly with something on a similar level like Aquaman, I think is a slightly more coherent story.
Look,
I think-
I'd be equally unlikely to watch either of these movies again.
Yeah, but I feel like Aquaman doesn't disappoint as heavily as this one. Like it's shit, but it doesn't disappoint.
No.
I think
Yeah,
that you can have
okay.
more fun with Aquaman if you get incredibly drunk and watch it.
Yeah.
As
There's,
we have
I can
proven.
vouch for
there's
that.
not a lot of, drunken rewatch value in Wonder Woman.
No.
I think it'll be a
Not
sad
unless you
and
want to like
depressive drunk
cry.
watch.
Yeah, be a crying drunk.
Yeah.
It hurt so much. Look what they
You know,
did
there's
to my
there's
beautiful.
no stepping into
girl.
Jurassic Park in Wonder Woman for some unknown reason.
No.
Yeah, no. So I thank you, Tolanda, for joining us. Yes, the trailers look great, but it's not good. I give it a 47.
Fuck, that's
Like
weird.
there are moments in there that I'm like, oh, that's visually a bit cool. There were some ideas that I was like, oh, that's kind of fun, but it it's terrible. And the thing that I found the most frustrating was that things that could be really cool action sequences, like in Egypt, there's a big truck chase action sequence sort of thing. I was like, I think this is boring.
Yeah.
Chip is confused as to why you're giving a boring movie that you said is terrible a 47. Because that's halfway to good.
I don't think it's a complete fucking failure. Like there are like
well, no,
visually...
because that would be a 0. But
Yeah.
surely we can find somewhere between half good and a complete fucking failure.
I reckon about half of the film I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of fun, and then there's just the other
So
bits
you
that just
enjoyed
left me.
47 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
for every minute of the movie that I enjoyed, I gave it a point.
The more I think about it, I'm like, wait, what did I fucking like about this?
It's true, and we're going to pick that apart in the in the spoiler section. So
You know what? Fuck it. I'm dropping it down to 40. There you go.
Oh,
Thanks,
sounds
back,
rating.
you guys. I'm here to ruin everything.
yeah.
Oh, you wait till next week when we talk about the watch.
Is it the watch?
I don't want to be the one that. I don't want to be the outlier.
Why not?
You're allowed to, Jill. You can have your own opinions. You're a strong,
You're off the
independent woman.
curve.
But you can't be part of the cool kids club unless you put on your heels and drop your score.
That sounded dirty.
Drop it real low.
Take 10 off mine. Take 10 off mine.
Oh, Jesus. I love that the score is just dropping.
It's dropping during the review. It's like, whoa, my
It didn't add anything to this universe. It was kind of like, oh, this happened to Wonder Woman.
In fact, it kind of detracts from the universe, and that is saying something for a pretty shithole universe to begin with.
Yeah, because now that I think about it, I was sitting there watching this with my parents, and I was just like, the only part that I kind of set up was the jet scene, and that was it. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I didn't do any of these through any of the movie.
No.
I have to admit, at like an hour in, I checked the time and I was like, it's got how long to go?
Yes.
I've been watching this.
Yeah, that's when you get up and do laundry.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I did the same. I looked at it and went, oh, shit. Oh, no.
Oh,
And
no.
yet you were giving it
Oh, no.
60s and 40s. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
all right. We changed
Okay,
What is
fine.
this? What is this rating system we've set up? It's a rating system of lies.
So good to have you back.
Speaking of a rating system of lies, before we get into the spoilery section where I'm going to try and struggle to find out where I put the spoiler logo on the stream, bear with me. Let's go to a little clip. Let's go back to the mall, the starting episode, the starting bit, and watch a little bit of that fight scene in the mall. And then come back and spoil the fuck out of Wonder Woman 1984. Because
It's already
We're just
spoiled.
gonna ruin
I have some opinions. Oh, wow. That was just fun, wasn't it?
Does the Sailor Moon thing with the tiara.
Yeah. Flicks the Sailor Moon thing with the tiara and has some hapless 1980s criminals with perms try and get their guns out, and it's just fun.
Pushed up blazer sleeves.
Push them.
See, that was fun. At that point,
Yeah.
I was still on board.
Like,
I was
it was
enjoying
ridiculous,
the ride.
comic-y fun. Where's the rest
Better
of that?
turn that logo.
Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately, in the very next scene, they introduce the dorky woman in glasses who drops everything and can't walk in heels.
Yeah.
Who's
And
completely
therefore has
forgettable.
no value.
Yeah.
It's okay. She gets value.
Cheetah.
Yes.
She gets value
gets
when
value.
she, takes off her glasses and wears a tight dress.
Yeah, just like Catwoman.
Oh.
But fuck. Okay. All right.
So we are in the spoiler section.
Yes.
So everything from this point onwards,
You've
if you are
seen Wonder
uncertain and
Woman.
you want to watch the film, completely clear. go do
'Cause-
something else.
'cause
But
there's-
now
I wanna
we
hear
don't
us
talk
shit
about
can
this
it.
shit.
Because there's so many, and I just don't want to double up, and some people might have opinions about certain specific things. Let's all think of one that really pissed us off, and then we'll do a round table and go one each, and then come back, and if we've missed one or there's still something else that shits people off. How's that sound?
Going
Good?
the women versus women trope because, like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of that.
But why were they fighting? Because they were best friends.
Wow.
I mean,
Oh.
they'd met like a day ago, hadn't they?
Sure.
Yeah, but
And-
she was the only friend that Kristen Wiig has ever had.
Oh, because she's a dork who wears glasses and can't walk in
Yes.
heels and drops things. Yeah.
Is it not
Yeah, yeah.
important for beautiful, talented, rich, fabulous women to always take in a dumpy friend? Is
The
that
thing
what
is,
to feel
she's
sorry
not
for them?
dumpy.
No,
No,
it's
she's
fucking Kristen
just-
Wiig.
That's the annoying thing about the trope. And yeah, I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe they're doing this because they're going to turn it on its head at some point soon. Maybe we're going to like realize that actually what you said, Jill, like it's what's inside. No, that's not where we're
No.
going with it. We just are seriously doing the entire dumpy girl turns hot trope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
as
the
has been
problem
said
is
in
she
chat,
was a
yes,
hot girl
just
already.
like
She
in
just had
Clueless.
glasses. What the fuck?
yeah, just like in Clueless, just like in The Princess Diaries, just
Yeah.
like in a million other movies, like Pretty in Pink. This is a classic. It's a very 80s thing to do.
Yeah, she's
but
all that.
we are meant to be moving past
It's
that.
fine. All
Yeah.
all women have to do is put on a little bit of confidence, and then suddenly everyone will like them, and slowly sap away at some Amazonian goddess's power.
But I also don't like
No,
that
that's not what's
they
happening.
did the
Yeah.
opposite thing where they put Diana on this pedestal of how, oh, she's so beautiful, but she's also really humble about it, and we all idolize her, but she doesn't know that she's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know
yeah.
she's hot.
Ugh.
Bitch
know
knows
she's
she's
hot.
hot.
It's like that
Um,
One Direction song, "You Don't Know You're Beautiful," and it's like
fucking
that's
hate that song.
It fucking grosses me out. I'm like, women know what their value is.
Yeah.
And
they
we sure as shit
know-
don't need some
They don't need
fuckboy to tell
somebody
you.
else to tell them. No,
And that is
exactly.
not what makes them beautiful.
exactly.
Not being aware of that is not what makes them beautiful. Welcome
Yeah.
to our review of One Direction songs. That's what makes you beautiful.
God damn! I wish I had James Blunt's song queued up.
Um,
Play that.
But I think that what
Yeah.
started to irritate me even more than the, being able to walk in heels and looking good in a dress is what gives this woman value, was the idea that only one woman can be that way. Because if there are more than one person who is that way, then they're automatically in some kind of competition against
Yeah.
each other.
Especially during the 80s and in like the corporate world, like it was such a dog eat dog against women. And if they maybe had explored that as the issue instead of just leaning on the tropes and ignoring like what that issue is, it might have been a more successful film.
Yeah.
And again, it's kind of where I thought it was going at the beginning. I was like, sweet, they're going to fight together. This will be fun.
Yeah.
No.
Nah.
Oh my
Opposite
god, if it
thing.
had been a Wonder Woman cheetah team up.
Yeah, it would have been great.
Yeah.
It would have been
Against-
so good. It would
Against
have
some
been
cool god.
beautiful to
Mm.
see a team up between women.
Yep.
Or, even leaning into what they teased us with at the start, where, they were getting along. They were good friends. And maybe, Diana's the one who teaches her that she doesn't need to be exactly like anyone else. She is beautiful the way that she is, and she's just as deserving of love and respect. And maybe, a little bit of confidence is all you need. You don't need a tight dress. You just need to realize your own inherent value. This has been Bec's Life Lessons. Thank you for joining me for my TED Talk.
But this
How the
wasn't.
fuck did Patty sleep on that when like there was this whole thing about her being, the female director in the DC universe? I'm like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it wasn't just Patty's decision, though. I am certain.
No, but if you put
that-
your name on as director, you got to be held accountable for some of it.
Yeah, but I am absolutely certain that there are some people who are not Patty who had a strong hand in these.
It did feel
decisions.
Brothers.
It did feel very much like it was that we have seen this kind of thing before. It felt like a film made by committee, which is like it didn't feel like a coherent script. It felt like a bunch of ideas that just got slowly manipulated into something that they want to see more of this and more of that, and then it just sort of got skew-whiffed out of shape, and then kind of cut back together. Like no, but we've got to have all the bits that everyone wants in there, because it was very disjointed.
You know what? That's not uncommon for fucking Warner Brothers to mess around with that shit.
No, what are you talking about?
I was also quite annoyed to see her turned into the villain from the moment that she took out some form of revenge on someone who had attempted to mistreat her. And that was the moment where the movie said, look, she's a shit person.
Yeah.
And here's evidence of it.
And it was weird because like that was one of those moments you're like, okay, that guy was super aggressive and deserved comeuppance. So are we meant to hate her for being having self-determination?
It was perfectly fine for Wonder Woman at the start to throw a dude onto a police car.
Yeah.
Or also
like everyone was cheering that on.
Also the same dude that, she like that drunk guy.
Wonder Woman does something.
Wonder Woman
guy,
throws him into a
fine.
bin.
Yeah.
Like, a trash can, and then later on Cheetah kicks the shit out of him. And it's like,
and it's and the difference being that it's just the level of the amount of violence.
It's the coming back for more.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were trying to push was, you've done him in. Now it's time to stop beating him into the ground, which yes, probably a good idea, but also beating a dude into the ground who attempted to sexually assault you is not grounds to call someone a supervillain.
No, but also it seems to be this thing that then motivates her entire sort of existence from that point onwards of going, okay, I just have to be more strong. I have to be more whatever. And it's like, okay.
It didn't make a lot of sense from a character development perspective.
No, it really didn't.
Don't look at me,
Oh no, Jill's
Jill.
lost all value to us because it turns out that she's just sitting in front of an ANZ banner.
Oh my god, it won't go back. The virtual background. Oh
well.
my god, this is so embarrassing. Don't look at me. I'm hitting it.
oh dear, it lost it. Well, it's kind of there. Oh, there you go. It's just like, it's confusing. No, help me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very funny.
But it's also the she's hot now, so she can't be nice. Also pissed me off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to things that piss me off about that storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's attractive, and therefore she's instantly going to become kind of like a bitch.
And
And
at the same time, that turns it into a, wow, how great is Diana? Because she can be hot and strong and a good person. That's
also a
insane.
lying
Because
cow.
those powerful women,
Yeah.
bitches.
I've gone out of focus and I don't know why. My camera's gone.
What has happened to this
Dion needs a
stream?
soft focus today. I'm like, sure. I'm going to be in one of those glamour photos in the shopping centers.
Yes, it's amazing.
Ooh, that's
One of the things that is quite problematic inherently in a lot of Wonder Woman stories is the idea that Wonder Woman is the ideal woman. She's better than any other woman because she is gorgeous and strong and tall.
And into BDSM.
Somehow immaculately put together all the time, no matter what. And unfailingly kind.
And nice. And
it's one of the things that
generous.
shits me about Superman as well. But even Superman has his like dorky accident prone side when he's being Clark. And it just seems like Diana, Wonder Woman, doesn't have any of that. And
no, she doesn't get to be anything other than perfect, pretty much the entire time.
Yes, and that even comes through in her, selfless giving away of Chris Pine.
Okay.
Now let's
Let's
move
get in on that.
without the logic, Cole.
Holy shit.
We all started well with the who gets one, but no, go ahead. Let's go.
Well, no. I'm not gonna take the obvious. I'm not gonna take the obvious Steve problem because there is a really big Steve problem. I want to
Sorry,
take
is this Steve Rogers or no, Steve Trevor? Right? Yes.
Steve. Yes. I want to take
guy with 2 first names.
the broader
Well,
problem.
Roger is a good first name as well. So
Sorry, Peter, we derailed you.
sorry,
It could
Pete.
also be it could be a description. What does Steve do? Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers Bucky.
Go ahead, Pete. We'll shut up.
Are we done now?
Never.
Problem of how little the wish granting backlash thing made sense at all in any of these situations. Because a while ago, Dion, you said, oh, because she was sacking Wonder Woman's power. She wasn't. That's not what was happening at all. Wonder Woman was losing her power because that was a backlash from her getting her wish.
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig's backlash was just becoming a shitty person, which is obviously what happens when anyone except Wonder Woman gets hot and powerful.
So it is a thing where if you get what you wish for, you have a bad thing happen to you.
Well, supposedly that's the plot.
Because that was not very well
You
explained.
lose your greatest strength. And
No,
Diana
you
was-
lose the thing that's most important to you.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
But then she would have lost Steve Trevor.
that's the whole reason Wonder Woman had to say goodbye to Steve at the end, Dion. Because to get her powers back, she had to renounce the wish because the wish to
Because her
have Steve
powers.
was what was taking her powers away.
Right. And which powers were they? Were they the ones that she didn't have in the first film that she developed over the course of this film, even though she was fully into her powers in
The flying?
1984?
The ability to fly.
The ability to make things invisible, but only things as big as a cup, and then she lost it. And that's the one joke that I laughed at this entire movie.
That was funny. That was funny. I also laughed at the parachute pants joke.
They were the things that I was shut off about remarkably amazingly is like she could only fly because a man told her she could. Like Steve believes in me. I can fly.
That she could. He just said you just have to feel it.
I mean, lightning, lassoing lightning through the air is pretty fucking cool. And then going on to just being able to fly is also kind of cool. But one question is, when did Wonder Woman be able to fly? I can't remember that because my memory is
She's
this.
flown.
She's
But like when was she able to fly? Was it always? Like, I don't know.
For a fairly long time, she's been one of the superheroes that could fly.
I'm fine with that.
But there was always that really weird thing as to why do you need an invisible jet if you can fly?
Yeah. Again, and the invisible jet, and the fact that the jet doesn't make any sense, and the fact that the jet is a crossbreed between an F-111 and an F-4 Phantom, and they don't work, and they shouldn't be stored at the Smithsonian with live fuel in them. And how could someone who flies propeller planes get into a plane and turn it on, and then it's not a real plane?
And also, how could they fly to Egypt in a day? And then
point that the rocket that's in the Smithsonian was still in use and shouldn't actually be a museum piece yet. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
So for some context, I was working on the fireworks for New Year's Eve here in Sydney, and that's part of the reason that I haven't been on for quite some time. But there is a moment where they fly the invisible jet into fucking fireworks, and I almost turned the movie off at that point because there is so much work that goes into making sure there is no one in airspace when fireworks
it's an invisible jet, not an invulnerable jet. Like,
I was waiting for them to get hit.
It's still an antique.
it was such a romantic scene, though.
Then again, I'm going to say...
nothing romantic about not being safe.
Then, remember what they say on the Wonder Woman set, safety third. But like, this was the sort of thing. Like, that jet was literally a fucking weird cross between two other sorts of jets, which were both in operation in the 1980s. Like, it's kind of, it would not be at the Smithsonian. Like, it was so fucking dumb.
Yeah,
and then
utterly stupid.
Steve Trevor gets in the jet and is like, this is just like what I'm used to. Forget the fact that there is almost a century of technology in this jet.
I can just flick these switches and know what they do. Fuck off, you've never seen a computer,
Where's
Steve.
fuel? Where's fuel? I'm just going to click two buttons and there's going to be
Computer?
fuel in here.
Yeah.
What's a computer? But okay, here's a weird timeline question just to get my head around it because I'm fucking not sure. Obviously, they established that timeline parameter that it was 4th of July fireworks.
Apparently.
And then how long till the end scene, which was after everything had finished and she's looking up and that's fucking Christmas. So I'm going,
Oh, okay.
is that like, how did that part of
It's
the
a
movie
2020 movie.
just do 6 months? And like, it was 4th of July here in the middle of the movie. And then by the end, it's Christmas. And I'm like, what?
No,
Like,
I think at
how?
the end, like some time has passed since the big disaster, and she's just reflecting on shit. Which also leads me to the other major Steve Rogers problem.
Trevor.
Rogers. There are too many Steves in superhero movies.
I'm the
Too many
Steve's are Chris's.
The other major Steve Trevor problem that somebody else might like to discuss, because fuck me, that was interesting.
Look, okay. So the thing that I think most people have called out about the film and like is this very questionable ethical thing that Diana has brought Steve back through a wish and has taken over somebody else's body to do so. She sees Steve, the rest of the world sees another person. Now, who is that other person? Where have they gone?
Christian Slater lookalike.
And is the fact that she then has sex with him technically rape?
Oh, definitely.
And
Absolutely.
and
I was
that
very
other
surprised
person
at that scene.
that she sees at the end and goes, actually, he's not bad. Like, what the fuck?
I know what I'm about.
You're talking about a woman that saw the first man that she had ever seen about 50 years ago and went, that's the one.
Yeah. And hasn't changed her opinion for 50 years.
Even living amongst the mortals.
I understand the demisexual nature of only being interested in one person for the rest of your life. However, I would like to say that bringing them back from the dead and having them possess someone else's body in order to rekindle that love is not a healthy way to go about reclaiming it.
But does she see him or does she see the new guy?
No, she sees Steve.
She sees
in this
Steve.
guy.
It's expressly said during the movie that she sees him.
Like, it's definitely that dude, but she's got this weird illusion thing on her vision that makes
Which
Only
is
after
completely unnecessary.
That it's Steve. Like,
Sorry,
because
Peter.
initially she saw the other guy.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh shit, you're Steve. So, like, the completely nonsensical nature of the wish granting again comes into play here, because, like, this wish stone can do anything.
Why did it
Except
choose
give
a
Steve
random
a body?
dude? Yeah, exactly. Why choose some random dude? Why not just bring him back?
And then I was thinking, like, how freaking traumatized must this dude be? Like, he's looking pretty.
I've just
good by
lost a
Christmas.
day of my life.
Well, he
A
wakes up in
day?
the middle
Or
of the street with chaos happening around him, bruises everywhere from like being in fights with, you know, I guess you're not very careful with somebody's body if you're fighting in it.
His co-workers and family have been calling him for weeks now, wondering what the fuck's going on.
Like weird ancient herpes.
He's got he's on the Secret Service. He's on the Secret Service list because he broke into the fucking White House now. Like, he's a domestic terrorist and he has no memory of this.
Shit.
Wow.
Yeah. You thought, oh, weird sexual politics. No, he's a domestic terrorist now.
This could all have been resolved if they just gave Steve his body.
And why not?
Sure.
There was like, there was no area of the plot that required this.
You
Like
literally have a Deus Ex Machina as a plot point.
Because it all goes away. Well, there's someone put in the chat earlier, like, what ramifications does this have for everyone? Do they remember it all? Does everyone remember the fact that they wished for weird shit and then it all came true and then it all went
are we
back?
going to get to that end point? Because that's the fucking stupidest Deus Ex of that I can remember.
Which one?
Maxwell Lord's crappy, weird villainy story.
The weird villainy story, but the use of a fucking truth lasso to try and get everybody in the world to unwish their wish.
Oh, I thought you meant somehow touching people via.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Touched their hearts.
Yeah, there's many ways to be touched. It's not physical. There's metaphysical. And also, you know, she's got a lasso that can grab lightning
But
or
also,
not
suddenly
get through
he cares
wind.
about his child who he's actively been avoiding the entire movie.
Yeah, totally. Because he's
So wait.
realized that he likes his kid because his eyes are bleeding.
Like, a shit father is a shit father, no matter
Yeah.
what's happening in the movie. Like, you're shit. You don't get to be shit and then suddenly decide, oh no, now I'm going to decide I actually care about my kid.
Well, I mean, you can make that choice, but that's perhaps something they should have built into his fucking narrative arc as opposed to just made it the end.
Yeah, all of a sudden, it's like, here's this business dude, and now we're going to chuck in this random kid. And there was no, like, development to see why that relationship is not working.
Yeah.
Also, did I miss something really big when the kid was like, I wish for your success then? And then nothing happened?
Nothing happened.
Yes, I couldn't figure out. I actually rewound that bit a couple of times to figure out what have I missed? Must have missed a moment here. Because he was like, oh no.
Then he seems really, like, Max seems really upset that the kids wished for that.
The important part is that Barbara became a cheetah woman. That's the important part that you're all missing at the end there.
Is it really, though?
And they got to have
like
a
possibly
fight.
the least important thing in the entire film.
But then Wonder Woman got to have a fight where she basically just hid behind some armor for a bit.
Which also the armor that was apparently capable of fighting off, a whole bunch of people
the whole
and keeping
Sparta.
Yeah, basically a whole bunch of big ass magical warriors are protected, but nah.
It was built to keep men out, not women.
Yeah, true. Sorry. Okay.
There you go.
But that armor and the whole thing of Asteria, was it?
Yes. You mean the original Wonder Woman?
Let's just call that out and just go, why? I mean, it was lovely.
Yeah,
but why?
oh my God, Linda Carter, how is she still so beautiful?
And I was very happy for that, and I love that idea, but that armor, I love the fact that Wonder Woman just keeps it in a kitchen.
But also just, like, do that story. If you're going to do that story, do that story.
It just felt like a footnote. She was like, quick, let's just... Yeah, exactly.
Well, especially considering that could have been the story that you start the fucking movie with. Lose your prequel, I shouldn't be a liar and I better not cheat or whatever.
Yeah, the Amazon Olympics. Get rid of that.
And tell the story of Asteria and have that actually somehow fucking echo thematically through the rest of the film as opposed to some kind of weird...
here's what we're going to do. We're going to pan out on the armor and on her, standing against the Spartans. And then we're going to pan in on the armor and then we're going to pan out again. And
Stop saying pan.
It's in her kitchen. It's in Diana's kitchen. That's what we're going to do. I redid the film.
Okay.
You also use the word pan a lot, and that's there's a lot of cinematographers who are dying quietly inside.
I just want you to
zoom.
I just want you to pan up.
Pan, and then
we dolly, we track, we pull, we don't.
Yeah.
We tilt occasionally.
We pivot.
Yeah.
I just want you to pan left.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Asteria. That's such an unusual name. Yes, it's from my culture. What does that mean?
It's from my culture. Great. But I'm 4. I don't understand cultural references.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
And it wasn't the first time I heard someone say it's from my culture. Because Diana also said something was from her culture. I'm like, from your white culture. Like, what?
Oh man, look, there's just so much.
We could talk about the startling lack of diversity in the entire film if we're going to kind of go there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sure.
Tell me about your white culture.
Well, there was some people of different ethnic origins on Themyscira.
Yeah, like I know they're supposed to be Greek, but it's still pretty
in the 80s,
European.
there are only white people. That's a little known fact about history.
No, there was some breakdancing. They referenced it specifically.
You can either be white or a breakdancer.
Yeah,
not both.
No. You're not allowed to have any sort of diversity in this kind of... Well, the 80s was the prime time for white America. I don't know. Look, this movie is dumb. And some shit really happens. And I really wanted it to be good because half the time I was like, yeah, I'm going to get on board with this goofy shit. And I agree earlier with the thing of like, it should have been an 80s action movie.
Were cool.
It should have had a bunch of shitty action like Schwarzenegger / Stallone dudes in it who just failed, and Wonder Woman did all the saving of the actual stuff in the background. That would have been cool. I would have enjoyed that.
That entire sequence in Egypt and the fight on the road with the trucks and everything, I was like, this is just fucking dumb.
I forgot about that until you told me.
Messy.
So what we're kind of seeming to say is we would have preferred a friendly neighborhood Wonder Woman movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
It would have been
also
fun.
may have made a little bit more sense in the context of the entire fucking universe too, because like if in the middle of the 1980s there was a magical shitstorm where everybody got all their wishes and Egypt got a giant wall in the middle of it for a few days, and then everybody forgot. I mean, did young Bruce Wayne wish his parents back to life and then they fucking disappeared again? What happened?
Well, there's a missed opportunity.
I don't think Bruce Wayne was alive at that point, sorry to say, because how old is Bruce Wayne meant to be in the 2000s when Batman
so he would have been alive.
Yeah.
That also reminds me of the terrible relations that they're talking about by making all of the Arabic-speaking people terrorists for wishing for nuclear weapons. And I was like, for fuck's sake. Like, what are you doing?
Well, it was in the middle of the Cold War too, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like the Cold War was between Russia and America. But who did they focus
why
in?
wouldn't they want to have nuclear weapons?
Why was there a giant problem? Oh, that's because the Arabic-speaking people in the Middle East decided they wanted nuclear weapons and create a war. It's like, that's got nothing to do with the Cold War. It was just thrown in there. You're like, what are you doing? That's just nuts.
I mean, there was Russian involvement with Arab nations and stuff during the 80s, but maybe not in 1984.
Yeah, if I've
learned
the
anything
Taliban
from and all that kind of stuff was big in Afghanistan.
First Blood Part 3.
Exactly.
It just feels very much like we're Americans and we're going to lean hard into the America versus Afghanistan, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, there was a thing. I thought it was really subversive and interesting at the start. Like during that mall sequence, it was quite fun. Like, last time we saw a good mall on screen, I think was Stranger Things season 3, which had the Americana mall. Yeah, but
the last time we saw a good mall on screen is a sentence that Dion just uttered, as though that is what we needed. And thank heavens, Wonder Woman 84 gave us a good mall on
Back in my day, malls had food courts and young hooligans and cops with batons, and it was a better time. But
if you're looking for something good to say about Wonder Woman, it's got a great mall.
Hashtag great set of malls.
But I like that they were a bit subversive by showing like, oh yeah, the 80s is here and it's fun and everyone likes the 80s, but was also like, here's people eating terrible food and being fat Americans, and the excessive stuff was kind of subversively getting it. I was like, oh, this could be an interesting movie. They're going to have a comment on this, ideation that you're throwing nostalgia at something, you're making something into a nostalgic ideal rather than what it actually was, and maybe they could do something with that, and then they just didn't. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake! It's like, what is it? Oh, Catwoman versus Wonder Woman versus guy who was trying to strike it rich in oil who just ends up being a douche nugget.
Cheap Lex Luthor.
I do want to
cheap Lex Luthor.
I want to call out how shitty that is too, because Maxwell Lord in the comics is an interesting character who's had some really, really good storylines written around him.
Yeah,
like there's the entire Brother Eye thing where he manages to basically completely fuck over the Justice League. He is an interesting villain. This version was not.
Yeah,
I feel like that is an ongoing problem with all of DC.
Yeah, bad villains.
Every character that DC has made a movie around, they have failed to use much of the really interesting material that has already been written about these characters that they could easily tap into.
Which is
looking forward to that Legion of Doom.
When's that happening? Hopefully,
it's gonna be fucking weird.
And Casper's saying that Cheetah's more interesting in the comics. I'm
absolutely. I think everyone's more interesting in the comics. Wonder Woman 1984. You should read some comics, guys. It's way more interesting. There's more character development in the comic book.
Like, you know what? I think the best parts about this movie are the trailer, the posters.
Yep.
Yeah.
like the idea of the movie that you had in your head before you watched it?
Mhm.
Much like, remember the days where we thought that Suicide Squad was going to be a great movie because
Oh.
the trailer was fun? Go and watch the trailer for Suicide Squad again instead
Yeah.
of watching Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, the one with like the Queen soundtrack.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about the Suicide Squad sequel?
Suicide Squad.
Want to die.
Oh no, I'm intrigued by it because
I'm
I
curious.
like James Gunn.
Do you think James Gunn can resurrect? Basically, have to pull a Jon Favreau.
With
Can
the
James Gunn
characters
pull a
in
Jon
this
Favreau?
Suicide Squad, he's got a long uphill battle.
I think that's the entire point. I think he has chosen characters that are deliberately stupid, that are deliberately over the top, and are going to be completely fucking stupid. And I think he's actually leaning in on his strengths as a director, which is comedy, and trying to make something out of shit characters.
Look,
Like-
we've all seen James Gunn do great things. We've also seen James Gunn do questionable things.
Oh yeah.
What's questionable?
And I feel like, well, let's even go Guardians 2, because Guardians 2 was a huge disappointment.
I still consider that Guardians 3. They missed a film.
Yeah, coming off Guardians 1, where everyone's like, this is possibly the best movie in the MCU. When people watched it for the first time, they were like, this is potentially a runner for best movie of the MCU. It was that good. I saw it 8 times in cinemas. And then we go and watch Guardians 2, expecting maybe not exactly the same heights, but instead getting potentially the worst movie of the MCU. I feel like putting too much faith in James Gunn may be our downfall.
I have a headcanon that says that Guardians, the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie, or Volume 2, is actually the third movie, and that there is a second one that's in there that no one has seen yet, which is just the Guardians finding out about all the bad shit Thanos is doing, which leads everything really nicely. There's a nice little story in there, yada, yada, yada. That's what happens in my brain.
Yeah. I like your headcanon. It's great.
Yeah. This third movie's still shit, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Okay. So in terms of where we go now, do we get another Wonder Woman? Yes.
Where do we go?
I don't want to see Wonder Woman movies stop.
No, neither do I.
I feel like that would be a massive loss. I just think that we need Wonder Woman movies that feel important and don't take
Do you hope it does
all of our progression back?
Do you hope it does a
which is
Thor Ragnarok
the
on it?
opposite of the point of Wonder Woman.
Do you want to see it do a Thor Ragnarok? You know, get a whole reboot, reinvigoration of the franchise by taking a different direction?
No, I think that's what they tried to do with 84, and I think it fucking failed miserably. I think if you're going to do Wonder Woman, give her the opportunity to be in a really great action adventure film like what 2/3 of Wonder Woman 1 was, but fix the ending and set it now. You know, make it pertinent, make it meaningful.
Wonder Woman 84 was trying to do the lighthearted thing, which goes against the whole DC universe trope of, you know, death and darkness and destruction. But they just failed because their storyline would have been much better had it confronted this idea of excess and always wanting more. And that's the whole point. You can't make that lighthearted. And they tried to do a bit of both and it just didn't mesh.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely spot on. It's a fucking shame.
Yeah. Especially for like all of the superhero movies that we were looking forward to last year. And this is the first one that we get, and it wasn't that great.
No, it's kind of that thing.
Which really, really, really makes me want Black Widow to be amazing.
True.
Fuck, I hope so.
How do we all feel about the delay? Was it worth the wait?
No.
Wasn't really.
Unfortunately, Black Widow has got a lot of ground to make up. If,
Yeah, but Black Widow has already trodden on some problematic ground itself. So I'm going to keep my expectations firmly middling for that one, I think. Although I am very much looking forward to WandaVision.
Yeah, TV seems to be the way
oh my
to
God,
go.
I've got 10 days. 10 days.
10
to go.
days, 10 days to
Yeah.
WandaVision,
Yeah.
which looks great.
Yeah.
And then, hopefully some Catwoman reboot with Halle Berry coming back.
Well, I mean, where we go with the DC universe now is kind of questionable, because the next thing that we're going to get is the Snyder cut of the Justice League. Maybe they'll start that Flash film later this year.
Or maybe they'll finish the Batman.
Oh, sorry,
the
that's still being
Batman.
shot now, and apparently, I love the fact that DC is like, yeah, we can have 2-3 different Batmen going at once. It's fine, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody really cares, do they?
Well, this podcast has taken on just exactly like the Wonder Woman 1984 movie. It's gone on a little bit too long, and the ending is not as good as what we were hoping for.
Fucking
Just like my first time.
Well, is there anything else? Are there any other terrible bits from Wonder Woman 1984 that we have forgotten about? Anyone in the chat?
Probably.
yeah.
Tell us.
I mean, the
Let us
movie
know.
went for 2.5 hours and we've only been speaking for 1.5. So we've
Yeah.
definitely left some stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's fine. We'll just fix it in post. We'll add it there. It couldn't be any worse than the CGI on Cheetah.
It could.
Well, okay. We've seen Cats. Fine. It could have looked like Judi Dench licking
They
herself
could have
on
shot that
screen.
scene and lit it in full daylight so that we could see exactly how bad it was, as opposed to it being underlit and virtually fucking invisible.
I'm kind of a bit over Kristen Wiig getting not doing well on screen when it comes to female characters. It's just kind of like, oh, she's a good actress. But I'm just a little bit like, not sure if you're a blockbuster. Oh well. Then again, what are you working with? We don't know. Criminally underutilizing Robin Penn. Oh, sorry, right. Sorry. I correct myself there again by not getting her to do much. But hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Then again, what are we watching next week?
Well,
I don't know.
I guess The Watch. I mean, what are we watching? The Watch.
Are we?
Oh, okay.
Are we? Is that a thing that we really want to do this?
I am currently re-listening to the original audiobooks of Guards, and I think that we can.
That is very interesting, only because I'm just checking the scheduling calendar that I've got open here. And
what are we meant to be doing?
No, next week's was TBC before we were doing WandaVision on the 19th. But we could do The Watch if you want to squeeze The Watch in there, Quinny.
I just think that it's an interesting experience, especially for anyone who knows anything about Discworld, and
I'm watching it as someone who has not read any of the Guards.
I'm very interested to hear your opinion.
That's why I'm interested in it. It's not necessarily because I think it's terrible or great or whatever. I think it's going to make for an interesting discussion.
Okay, because I do have some opinions.
I do not doubt that. And we do have, there will be 3 episodes out by the time that we will be reviewing it.
Sure.
And it's interesting because it came out here in Australia before anywhere else in the world.
Not the first time that's happened.
No, but it's kind of weird for something to show up on Stan and you're like, oh, okay, right. Before the UK, before America.
Someone said Star Trek Discovery. We did that one. Has anyone else been watching Star Trek Discovery?
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with it.
It's pleasant.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's pleasant. It's not bad. Is it it's not Voyager.
You're not a fan
Not
of
Deep
Michael.
Space Nine either.
Yeah, it's no Deep Space Nine, but it's not Enterprise.
Hey, shut up! You shut up! I love Enterprise.
Yes, but I do have opinions on some of The Watch, and I'm confused. I will be asking many questions. I'll be like,
Yeah, we'll probably be asking many questions too.
question 1: why does death?
Oh, don't even start with death.
That's my first one. That's my opening.
I feel like The Watch is one we're going to have to be spoilers from the start because there's just so much to
Yeah.
Sure.
So anyway, as I say, you can find it on Stan. It's out in the US. There'll be a few episodes available. Or if you're feeling so inclined, go and read the book of Guards or Men at Arms or The Night Watch or any
I
of
highly
those.
recommend starting with Guards. It's an excellent intro to Discworld, as well as The Watch. And The Watch are my personal favorite storyline in the Discworld universe. So
Peter,
go
have you
and
read any
watch that.
Discworld?
Go and read that or listen to that rather than watching the show.
Peter, have you read any Discworld?
I have not.
Jill,
I
have
have
you
been
read any
intending
Discworld?
to. I just haven't got to it.
The only Discworld I'm familiar with was a cartoon that was on ABC, and it might be about what this is about.
It is.
Okay.
So that would have been either been Weird Sisters or Soul Music.
It was one of them. I remember Death was in it, and
probably
I
Soul
remember
Music.
there was what were they called? The something Legion?
Oh, the French the Clatchian Foreign Legion.
That's them, yeah.
The
That's what I remember.
I have read Monstrous Regiment and The Color of Magic.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There's my two.
Yeah, you really didn't get any of the good ones.
No.
But there's so many.
There are so many great ones you could have gone for, and you somehow managed.
But I liked the Monstrous Regiment. It was good.
Yeah.
It's good. I like it. It's fun. The thing with the
that's
thing.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll be doing a lot of discussion about Discworld next week. But until then, thank you so much for joining us. A special thank you to Casper, who has put some money in the Ko-fi while we have been doing this. We really appreciate it, dude. That's super cool.
What a great start for 2021. Hooray! Welcome
Yay,
back,
we really appreciate
everyone.
that.
It's 2021. We're still
Yay.
here with the same thing. God damn it.
Oh,
We're alive.
And I do want to throw one thing out there. If you're feeling like a look back on the year that was and you've got Netflix, go and watch Death to 2020.
Oh my God, that was
it's
fun.
the blackest fucking thing ever.
That's fucking great. We should have done
It's
that,
so
but it's
funny.
too past now. Just go watch that.
Yeah.
Don't have to think about it anymore.
Yes. Right. Well, I have been Quinny.
I've been Dion.
I've been Bec.
I've been Peter.
I've been Jill.
Hooray! You're all back. You're all wonderful people. Look at you all there. Thanks for coming along. Thanks
we
to
will
everyone in
see
the
you
chat.
next time. Thank you and good night.
Bye.
Bye.